You're very welcome to listen to this talk. I was invited to talk about the resurrection, and I was thinking first that it would be more or less a sermon on the resurrection. And indeed, I'm 88 years old, and I was ordained in 1962, and since 1962 I may have preached on the resurrection almost every year, because I was in Brazil and later on in Russia, and it's very important. The big feast of the year is the resurrection. But for me, during my life, I'd like to tell more or less what the resurrection meant to me during my life from childhood. And in fact, when I was being brought up, when I was a boy, the first time I heard of the resurrection and how we celebrated the resurrection, it wasn't a very important feast for us. What the most important feast for us was Christmas. That's a family feast, and I suppose as children we thought more about chocolates and sweets after the fasting from during Lent. But eventually, and bit by bit, we came to realise really it was the changes in the church's liturgy that brought about that we thought more about the resurrection, especially when the church started the Vigil for Easter, the Vigil for the Easter service, the Mass in the evening of Saturday. Because for us as children, Saturday was the most important day of Holy Week, because Saturday morning was almost amazing with activity opposite our house, because the Ockley Church was just across the road from us, and opposite our house was the entrance to where the priest lived, and every Easter Saturday morning that was absolutely chock-a-block with people. They came along to get holy water, and that was very exciting for us as children. So we would be over there watching the people and seeing them getting the holy water and so on. But then the church itself, especially in the West, I suppose, came to realise that our Easter was not sufficiently promoted, not sufficiently in sight, not sufficiently considered. And so it introduced the Easter Vigil and the rites, a new rite of Easter. So that was the principal thing that brought about a change in our life, and especially as a priest then, we began to realise that Easter was the big feast of the year, not Christmas, and to prepare more for Easter, especially during Lent and so on. Then later on, and I decided, I was appointed to go to Siberia in Eastern Russia, and in Russia the Orthodox Church is the principal church, and I was along with Eastern Rite Catholics from the Ukrainian priests, and they celebrated just in this very same way, the very same form, the very same liturgy as the Orthodox churches in the East, and even in Constantinople and so on in the Ukraine. And there I began in 1996, in April of 1996. And when I went out there, I went out just a few days after the Easter in the West, because the dates of Easter for our church, Latin Rite Church, and for the Eastern Rite Church are different. And it happened that year that it was one Sunday after the other. I celebrated Easter here in Ireland before I went over to Russia on the Tuesday of that week, 1996, April 96. And so I had celebrated the Easter, and it was certainly lovely in Marianella in Dublin, our own celebration, and I suppose the students made it a very important celebration, as they were in charge of the liturgy at the time. But anyway, we celebrated in Ireland. I liked it very much, and then went over to Russia. And the church where I was celebrating in Russia was run by Ukrainian priests of the Eastern Rite, which is the same as the Orthodox Rite in Russia. And they celebrate in the Ukrainian language. They celebrated the Ukrainian language, and they were preparing for Easter. They had their preparation for Easter. Nothing of that preparation strikes me at all, struck me at the time, or even afterwards. But then we had the Easter celebration, and the Easter celebration began about midnight on Saturday evening. And from the very beginning of it, I was really struck and amazed at the beauty of the liturgy. In the church there were about 100 people of Ukrainian descent. They would have been Ukrainians, maybe some of them had been born in the Ukraine, I don't know, but there would have been about 100 people there, principally adults but also children, and they were there, and they began the celebration began, and it was absolutely beautiful, the liturgy, the priest's part and the part of the people. And the participation was absolutely amazing. Everybody in the church was singing, and singing full blast, you might say. Absolutely beautiful. So it was the first time I had been present at an Orthodox celebration, and it was really absolutely lovely. But really that brought out to me how and why the Eastern Rite, Catholics and Orthodox Church, why they give such importance to Easter. It makes you think, realize more profoundly, deeply, how the resurrection is really such a great mystery for us, our Lord's rising from the dead to give us new life. I assisted at a concert here in Clonard Monastery. It was a group from Dublin. It's a famous concert group, and they sang Rachmaninoff's Vigil, and that really included his music, and he was using the liturgy of the Vespers of Holy Week, or of the Easter Vespers, and that was really also absolutely gorgeous. That Rachmaninoff's Easter Vigil. But these things help me to understand more deeply the meaning of the resurrection. That really is my experience of Easter during my life, and certainly I think we should give more thought to this feast, and maybe especially to the whole preparation for this feast, the whole of Lent, and in a very special way during this time to concentrate on the passion of our Lord and his resurrection, maybe in reading the Gospels, reading the Gospels of the Passion, the four Gospels of the Passion. And really that is the most important meditation you can make at any time of the year. So really that's how I try to explain my understanding of Easter to you. And I wish you all the best, and wish you also a happy Easter.